In his novel Answered Prayers, Truman Capote writes of a great party given to celebrate the release of Red River. The host invited Montgomery Clift along with Talulah Bankhead and Miss Dorothy Parker. This man's name was Boatwright, and he was some famous editor of a sort. In any event, he went to great lengths to prepare Senegalese soup and also a lemon souffle. Unfortunately, the guests were 3 hours late. The souffle fell and the soup went cold. Miss Dorothy Parker first claimed that she had a crise de foie, but might be enticed to have just a glass of wine. Eventually, she told Truman Capote just to leave the bottle, it would be easier. Meanwhile, Talulah Bankhead was putting down belts of bourbon while Montgomery Clift was sipping the house martini made mostly with gin and a drop of Pernod. This evening, as you might imagine, turned out a disaster and ended with Miss Dorothy Parker declaring her unrequited love for Montgomery Clift. That didn't go very far. Bienvenue chez Tim. Pendant les années 40, il y avait une grande soirée à New York pour fêter la sortie du film Red River. En effet, les invités incluent Talulah Bankhead, Montgomery Clift et Miss Dorothy Parker. La soirée était une catastrophe. Tout le monde a été saoul, la soufflée a tombé, et puis Miss Dorothy Parker a déclaré son amour pour Montgomery Clift, qui était homo. Ça n'a pas du tout passé. Soupe Sénégalaise is made with whatever you have around the house, and it needs some sort of chutney to top it. I looked in my refrigerator and found nothing, so I'm going to make a chutney with what I happen to have around. It's going to begin with some frozen berries. Now we'll just put those right on in. And then some orange juice and some orange marmalade. And I want to add some Thai pepper, quite hot pepper. And also I had some ginger I just found in the refrigerator. So we're going to grate that in as well. Oh, I would say a good teaspoon of it at least, because you want that ginger flavor. Good. Now all we do is let that cook down and let it cool, and we'll have a chutney. Senegalese soup can be made with whatever you have to make it with. Traditionally, it does have green apples and onions and carrots. And apart from that, you can add other things as you wish. Right here I have some butter melting, and I just put in onions and carrots and green apples. We'll let that sweat just a moment, mostly just to cook the onion. Now I'm adding homemade vegetable broth. Oh, a pinch of salt. Normally you would use curry powder, but since I have some ras el hanout, which is the Moroccan North African spice, I'm going to put about a tablespoon of that in. Go easy on it. And the other thing that's traditional is raisins. So I happen to have a few raisins left. We'll just throw all that in. And lastly, you can either use tomato puree, fresh tomatoes. I happen to have tomato concentrate, so we'll put that in. And that's it. I'll put a cover on that, simmer it for an hour, and it will be done. At that point, it will have to be put into a blender and then strained through a fine mesh strainer. A little bit of cream or coconut cream added, and it's finished. The soupe Sénégalaise is done, and I wish you could smell my house. It smells of wonderful spices of the Orient, and it made a thick soup that's velvety. We're going to garnish it with that compote that I made earlier. Just a little bit of that there. And I think a sprig of dill would look nice. The soupe Sénégalaise.